show you can't ignore. Wayne and Kevin diving deep into all things galore. Comic book, movie, sci-fi, and action thrill. Reviewing new TV shows, we keep it real, real. Reminiscing the attitude era, wrestling at its peak. Nostalgia from the 80s and 90s, memories we seek. Pineapples for our rings, a unique touch. Geek culture in our blood, we love it so much. Geek Blue forever, we love it so much. Geek Blue, where we talk about it all, from superheroes to wrestlers. We stand tall, Ray and Kevin, the dynamic duo in sight. Geek Blue, shining bright, shining bright. Did you hear about Pluto? Let's rest up right. Geek Blue, taking you on a nostalgia flight. From movies to TV, we cover it all. Join us every week, we'll have a ball. Shuffle.
Hey, what's going on?
Not too much, Raymond. How are you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Gonna start the week off a little late, but it happened last weekend with the Super Bowl. Talk about the halftime show, talk about the commercials. First off, let's talk about where in the world is Vince McMahon? Well, he's at the Super Bowl.
I almost thought
After
that was
that
fake when I
whole-
first saw it on Twitter.
No, it was not. They were all right in the front row of the Super Bowl. Yeah, he has been out of the limelight since that documentary on Netflix and all that stuff happened. He got fired last year, but he did come out with family, with Shane and the Undertaker. Undertaker actually had to defend himself, saying that Vince is still a friend. But yeah, there's Vince at the Super Bowl. You want to talk about the game first, or you want to get into the other stuff? I know you had some thoughts on the actual game itself.
The game itself was pretty boring.
Yes, I thought so too. I actually watched the
Incredibly
whole
boring.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a
I did.
slugfest. They got garbage points, Kansas City. But I told everyone in August that the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl, and everyone told me I was stupid for betting on them. And here we are. They lost 3 games all year. Jalen Hurts was able to do it in the playoffs, and they got the Super Bowl. So good on them.
That score was crazy.
Philadelphia is currently burning.
I know. I saw that. The score was crazy. I thought it was going to be a 0 to like whatever it was, 30 at the time or 28. I can't remember what the final was, but at the end, the Chiefs did get a few touchdowns to bring the points closer, but not enough. Some commercials that we saw. Jay and Silent Bob and the Dunkin' commercial. This came out a few days. That's the thing about these commercials. We saw these the week before. Of course, our pictures are in the
Jay
way
Hughes
there.
put it
But
on Twitter like that morning.
that morning, yep. They also redid the Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan movie there. I can't think of it at the moment, but Sydney Sweeney. We talked about that, I think, last week too. That had leaked already, so there was no real big commercial surprises. They all leaked, including the trailers. Most of the trailers, except for the one we're going to talk about, the big one, we'd already seen. We did see a new trailer for F1, the Brad Pitt movie about racing. We saw a Super Bowl Lilo and Stitch commercial that was specifically for the Super Bowl. On a whole other channel, we got a brand new poster for Crypto. Brand new look of Crypto. There were some visuals of Crypto flying, the first time we see him actually flying. Some Crypto merch too. And you did see a little quick breakdown, little
they're having a
tease
field
trailer
day with this one.
of Guy
They're
Gardner,
having a field day out there.
played by Nathan Fillion, of course. Yeah, I saw that. But yeah, the bowl cut thing. I know a lot of people watched the Puppy Bowl, and I know a lot of people were waiting for something more than this, but that's all they really got. They were pissed. But I think I've said it off pod. We're not going to get much until probably April.
April
we're
1st.
talking.
We'll get trailer
Yeah,
number
we're
2.
talking summer movie blockbuster season starts in May, end of April. that's where the run of this movie's. That's where the next big trailer, the full trailer, is going to come out, because you got 2 months at that point to promote it, 2 or 3 months, and that's when we'll get that. We'll get the next big look at this movie. So I kind of figured this is what was going to happen. I figured we'd get something crypto-centric, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Thunderbolts. Big trailer last week was the Thunderbolts trailer. We did see the whole entire cast this time, including who Bob is playing, who he is. And we already knew he's a Sentry, but we did get some first glimpse of that. Yep. These are the first posters. One was kind of Super Bowl related with the Wheaties box with all the characters on there. And the other poster was the one you're going to see in the movie theaters. But yeah, these are a couple shots from this trailer, and the ones on the right there are the Sentry. Actually, probably the Void, because he can control matter and turn people into shadows and a whole bunch of shit. So we'll see how that plays out. We've got a very quick glimpse of the Sentry in the bottom right corner with the blonde hair and everything. So they are going comic book accurate. We kind of figured they would, but very small glimpses of him, which I'm kind of glad. I wish they did the same thing with Captain America, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Another thing, Empire released another photo of them with Bob. And then the Wheaties box is in movie theaters, I believe, or somewhere out in the open. It looks like a whole Wheaties box with the nutrition facts and everything. Yep. In the wild, yep. Other than that, that was basically it for all the promotion stuff, and then we get into Samuel L. Jackson opening up Kendrick Lamar in this halftime show. What are your thoughts? I like Kendrick. Kendrick is one of the modern hip hop artists I actually do like, because he doesn't mumble. He actually has words. You actually understand what he's saying, and a lot of his stuff is poetic. He's obviously a fan of Tupac, so he follows down that road. But the whole entire the way the internet reacted to this trailer, especially a certain Caucasian audience, was ridiculous and crazy. They didn't understand it. I mean, if you didn't know what was going on with him and Drake, you wouldn't have understand how big of a moment this was in hip hop. That he dissed another artist, a huge artist, on the stage of the biggest audience in the world. You're gonna see something like this, and nobody thought he would actually say his name, and he did. And nobody actually thought he would call him a pedophile, and he did. And no one would actually think they would come out with a big A, lowercase a necklace around his neck with an A minor, and the whole entire crowd at the Super Bowl would repeat the line A minor. But I thought it was good. I thought it was decent. I think what are your favorite, going back through history, what are your favorite performances from the Super Bowl past? I know you're more focused on the games more than I am, but I know some of these are more iconic than others.
The two that always stand out to me are Michael Jackson in '93, I want to say.
Yeah.
And was it U2 that did it after 9/11? Yeah. And they had all the names. I believe that was it.
Those were the two. Right. That was memorable.
And that was, of course, the first Patriots Super Bowl. Prince was also another one. Yep, those are probably top three.
Prince did Purple Rain
one from a few years ago.
Right. Prince did Purple Rain in the rain, I believe. It started raining that Super Bowl. That was a good one. Yeah, the Dre Eminem one. That's probably my favorite one, just because I love Eminem and Dre. So, but this is pretty good. I thought. I don't know what your thoughts on it. I know you probably were more focused on the game than this stuff, but.
It was fine.
It was okay. It was fine. I mean,
I didn't know that was it Serena Williams or Venus Williams? Yeah. One of them that was out crip walking. Does she used to date Drake? Is that the deal?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So
the
it's weird to call him a pedophile and then have a 43-year-old woman come out and.
Right.
That was
weird.
The
little stuff that he was throwing in there, that was little shots, like having Serena there, having SZA, who dated Drake as well. Little shots here and there, and of course the A minor necklace. There's a lot of little nods to Drake, to the beef, to everything. And I thought Samuel L. Jackson, having him there kind of being the ringmaster of America, was pretty cool, Uncle Sam. And then having the game over thing and drones at the end was pretty cool. I mean, overall, it went over the heads of a lot of white people, but people who love hip-hop, people who love the art of hip-hop, the culture of hip-hop, loved it. I don't see any complaints as far as that's concerned. And actually having somebody diss somebody with 133 million people watching, the biggest ever, is amazing. So,
Yeah, my cousin's husband was like, he's actually singing the lyrics. He's like, a lot of people don't do that. And I'm like, he's a rapper.
Yeah.
If they don't, and he's especially because he's dissing someone. If he gets caught not singing his own songs or lip syncing or whatever, his career is
you can't
essentially
do that
over at that point.
on that stage, you cannot do that. But yeah, Super Bowl watched by 126 million people, and like I said, the peak of it was Kendrick Lamar performing 133.5, which I believe broke. And I can't remember which one it was. There was one recently, Usher maybe. There was one in the last few years that was a big, huge one. I think it was the Usher one. That was always the big one. But for us, like the other thing that I want to briefly get into, because we denounce him on the podcast now because he's a complete Nazi. But the Kanye stuff.
Yes.
Wow. How this guy went from the college dropout to this is the trajectory I never thought would happen with him. Like, I'm going to talk about this story, but briefly. He put a commercial. It wasn't nationwide. It was only in Los Angeles. He got the approval from all the affiliates for his website, Yeezy.com. And at the time, he had like 20 or 30 different versions of the Yeezy memorabilia, logos, stuff that he's promoting, whatever. And they all approved it. They said, okay, that's fine. It's a nice website. And Yeezy.com, go on there. 30-minute commercial dropped, and a 30-second commercial dropped. And all of a sudden, Kanye wiped the whole entire website and put one shirt. Now, last weekend, Kanye went on a tirade. We talked about it, I think, on the podcast, that he started going on a tirade, and it got worse throughout the whole weekend, and he started going on an anti-Jews, Nazis, saying he's a Nazi, misogynistic shit, everything. And he burned every bridge that he possibly could. He got fired from his talent agent, everything. And he changed his website right after the commercial aired. Literally, the minute the commercial aired, he wiped everything and put the one shirt that he was promoting on Twitter last weekend, the swastika t-shirt, a black swastika. And yet the only thing on the website that was available. The uproar was ballistic, crazy. And I think Elon Musk took him off Twitter. He's been gone off everything all week. It was crazy last weekend with Kanye. I couldn't believe it.
Yep.
Nuts. Yeah, that's all we're gonna talk about Kanye, because it's hard. We've talked about it before. Like, it's hard to separate the artist from the personal shit, and this is one of those cases. It's kind of like, it's not the same level, but Michael Jackson. I know there's a lot of opinions about Michael. Whether it's true or not, we'll never know. There's no evidence of it. So, but the Kanye stuff, the evidence is all there. Unfortunately, hours of texting. He was texting throughout the night, Saturday, Friday. It was nuts. But rest in peace to his career. But the Super Bowl overall was good. Speaking of what I watched, we're going to talk about what we watched last week. There was a new documentary on Netflix. I haven't watched too much about the O.J. Simpson stuff. It happened when we were young. I know a little bit about O.J. We talked about it, I think, on the podcast before. But there is a new documentary on Netflix that talks about pretty much the whole entire manhunt that happened from the beginning to the end of the O.J. trial, and even talks about past the O.J. trial, when O.J. got arrested again back like 2007 when he stole the memorabilia, and then how he died last year. Got into it a little bit here and there, but mainly it was a 4-part documentary on Netflix, and it tackled everything from 1993, 94, 95, the whole court, everything. Johnny Cochran, all of that. I thought it was really good. Me not knowing anything, I didn't watch the docu-series with Cuba Gooding. I haven't really watched anything OJ.
That was
ever.
good.
Besides, yeah, I heard that was good. But I did want to recommend this if you don't know much about OJ like I do. We were kind of out of that time. I mean, I wasn't into sports. OJ was way past.
My mom was watching that trial every day after school. So
yeah,
I saw
my mom too. Everybody was. It was everywhere. I think it was getting like 30 million people watching every day or something like that. It's a crazy number. But yeah, it's a good documentary. It's on Netflix called OJ American Manhunt OJ Simpson OJ Simpson. It just came out last weekend, so it's on Netflix if you want to watch it. Big finale today for Dexter Original Sin. 10th episode aired today. Kind of what we figured happened. Setting up a second season. We weren't really sure about that part, but it is setting up a second season. Lots of loose ends. But I mean, there's quite a bit of story here to still tell. We've been mentioning where's Matthews.
Oh yeah.
We also see LaGuardia looking over Harry's shoulder, kind of questioning what's going on with Harry.
Makes sense as to why LaGuardia's a dick to Deb. Because her father was kind of a dick to LaGuardia, and that's why she doesn't follow any leads that Deb gives her at first. So that was nice to see. The big thing with this episode, too, was I thought they were going to chicken out. I didn't think he was going to actually tell his dad that he took care of it. Because, his dad, said something, and he's like, thanks, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes into the fact that you'll never see him again. And I was like, oh, thank God. And his dad thinks he's kind of like a little superhero because he saved the kid. The Brian stuff was awesome.
Yeah, we got his whole backstory origin, which we never chose. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Very good episode. Very good finale. I hope we get a second season. It'd be nice to run this in the other Dexter show, every other year. So you have Dexter every year. Would be kind of cool if they continue on with the regular Dexter show. But I would absolutely love for a second season of this. Yeah, I loved it. And also, with the ending shot I wanted to talk about, when he tells the detective to look in the knife, essentially. And he's like, and then it pans up and you can see his reflection, the eyes over the knife where the eyes would be on the detective. That was some really cool cinematography. I enjoyed this episode a lot. The only thing I didn't like is we didn't get another shot of Dexter. We opened the series with a shot of old Dexter. I wish we got a shot of him at the end of the series also.
Right. I was expecting that. I was expecting that too. Yeah.
Yes. And I wanted more Batista in this series.
Yes.
The dude that played Batista was the one out of LaGuardia, but we didn't see much of her either. But the dude that played Batista knocked it out of the park.
Yep.
And it seems like a lot of the other characters were there just because they had to be like Masuka, which I liked, but I'm glad they did not use him in much capacity after the first episode, at all. Because that would have got annoying because he nails the laugh, but that's kind of all they make him do is the laugh. Deb was kind of annoying, but she's also annoying in the original show, so it is what it is.
Right.
But I really liked the relationship between Harry and Dexter in this show.
Yep.
And yeah, I really, like I said, I hope we get a second season because they set it up beautifully. And if we don't, they also ended it to where we don't need a second season. But they did set it up to where LaGuardia could possibly look more into this case.
I loved what they did with Brian. I loved how they went back into his backstory, showed him going through the system as a child. And at the end, he's watching from the shadows. He's following Dexter. He's not going to know. Dexter's not going to know about him for another 10, 15 years. So I love that setup.
He's pissed that Dexter isn't there. I love that. He was pissed Dexter wasn't there.
Right. And he didn't come with him in the whole journey of him. His whole childhood got fucked up and everything. But you mentioned it the last few episodes. Captain Matthews is going to be the big casting coming up in season 2. Do we want a big name to play him? Do we want a big name actor? We've got a couple of big names coming this season with Patrick Dempsey, with Christian Slater. We could have a big name coming in to play Captain Matthews.
One big name,
right?
So if it's not him, it's whoever. Say they cast somebody,
the bad guy.
Blah 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 blah, and it's like, well, that guy's going to be a bad guy because
Yeah.
So I mean, I assume they'll cast somebody of prominence, similar to who they cast as Harry, where Christian Slater, sure, when we were growing up, was kind of a big name. He's always kind of a fringe B-list actor, but people know him. So I think it'll be that type of name. I think people will know him. Maybe he'll be like a soap opera act, something like that, but people, I think, will know him or know of him.
Yeah. Maybe a 90s actor. The other person in this cast that's not in the next series is Sarah Michelle Gellar, which we've talked about a few times, where that character, something's going to happen to her, probably in season 2 or wherever this show goes. Something's going to happen to her where Mazuka and
Or, I mean, she just
Dexter
retired,
are gonna
whatever. But yeah. You would
Sure,
think something will
that's
happen
what
to her one way or the
happens.
other, maybe.
right.
But I mean, she's like clearly in her 50s at this point, so
Right.
she probably wouldn't be around for another 15 years, anyways.
Possibly, yeah.
But I mean, if she dies, and that could be the killer that Dexter goes after in the next season, or season
Right.
3 if it gets that far. But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen to her.
Right, because if he gets close to her, maybe Brian takes her out. We're not sure where this is going to go, but
Right.
also Dexter get the boat this season. At the end of the end of the episode, he's driving the boat.
Yes.
He figures out
Well,
how
I mean,
to dispose
it's
the
still
body in the ocean.
technically
It's her. Yeah.
it's still her boat, but he's just using it.
Yep.
And so, what else do I want to say? I want to say one more thing about the captain. I'll probably think about it after. But yeah, great season of TV. Great show overall. Really enjoy it every week.
Yeah.
I like the week-to-week watches with something like Dexter. Lets you
it
kind of
works
sit
with-
on it for a little bit and marinate.
It works. It works with that
the
thriller.
duality. The
Yes.
duality of the children drowning versus Dexter
Yes.
saving the child drowning, I thought was absolutely fucking beautiful.
I noticed that
Because at the
too.
beginning, I was like, why are they showing us this flashback? Like, that happened in
Yeah.
episode 1, and they really haven't brought it up since. But the duality of that, I thought was fucking nails. Loved it.
The other thing is the code was brought up. I'm not sure if it was brought up before Harry talking about the code. Dexter was talking about it. We mentioned it last week that there's a
The
doctor
season
that
2
kind of
flashbacks. Yep.
right.
That's what the season 2
There's a doctor
flashbacks will be. I guarantee it.
Right, that's what I'm guessing too. But yeah, there's some photos. They are filming Resurrection, like you mentioned. No scenes from Resurrection. I was expecting one too, but they are currently filming it. We got what's his name, his son, as a bellhop at a hotel by the looks of it there on the far right. But
With a ridiculous
Yeah.
mustache? Is that it? Oh, no.
With
Nope,
no.
his mouth is just open. I've got the laptop, so my computer screen is much smaller and I'm blind.
also officially announced this week in the cast, Peter Dinklage. I think it was rumored, but it was this is the guy who's what's her name, Mila Djokovic or whatever. I think she's in this, right? No, not Mila.
Yep.
I always confuse. Not Mila.
It's
Pulp
God
Fiction.
damn it.
What's her name?
Kill Bill chick.
Yeah.
Poison Ivy.
Well, right. She
Blanking
works
out of here,
for
people.
Peter Dinklage.
But anyways, I thought Dexter only killed the big fish. Apparently he's going to kill some little fish.
Well, I gotta go over the little sunfish first. So yeah, Peter Dinklage,
But,
great actor.
I don't.
He's gonna fit in this
I
world
think it would
perfectly.
be like season 8. Season 8, Dexter would have definitely killed a little person for like laughs at that point in the show. With the way he was going after people
You're
by
right.
season 7 and 8, he would have fit in really good there. I don't know if they're going to kill him because he is such a big name. So I don't know
Yeah.
what his role is in this show, but I'm just happy he's in it because I fucking love the Dink.
Me too. Yeah, he's awesome. Have you watched Dark Side of the Cage? Did you catch up on this week's, or how are you?
No.
on the watch on
I
that?
think I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a little bit and watch him in batches.
Okay. That's cool. I did watch The Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't know if what your watch is on that show or not, but pretty good. This is the episode where he fought Daredevil. There's actually 3 episodes. He fought Daredevil. He fought the
Voiced
Scorpion.
by Charlie Cox.
Yep, Charlie Cox did do the voice. And to save him from the Scorpion fight, you see the Green Goblin's glider. Norman sends to help him. It's a little bit of tease for the Green Goblin, which will see. And Octavius is captured. He doesn't get the tentacles yet, but he is captured by Thaddeus Ross and Iron Man. You do get a quick cameo of Iron Man coming to the rescue. Seems like the same guy that voiced him in What If voiced him in this. You see the Chameleon have a cameo, and Peter finally gets his suit, which he designed, the iconic Spider-Man, the suit everybody knows with the webs. He does get that by the end of it. And next week we got 2 episodes left. Kind of excited for it. I do like this show. So we'll see. And I'm hearing great things about the finale, so we'll have to wait and see.
They've
Cobra Kai.
They interviewed the showrunner on Real Blend. Heads up, so you might want to check that out. A little bit of
Okay.
spoilery stuff. But he did say he has already written season 2,
Yep.
which is now being animated, and he's working on season 3. And they kept talking about how he's having a hard time at the press junkets because he can't draw the line between season 1 and 2. So like he has to be
Right.
very careful with his words because he can't remember exactly what he put into both seasons, which I thought that was kind of funny because he's been so busy writing the show.
Have you watched Invincible or Cobra Kai? I know those just came out recently. I don't know if you've
I have
watched
not.
any of that.
I'm
yet.
waiting
Okay.
for Invincible to all be done, and then I'll watch it all, and then I'm
Okay,
gonna
that's
watch when we're
weekly.
done here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that just came out yesterday, day before, so or today actually. I don't remember what day it came out, but yeah.
Yeah, it came out today. That's why I
Year,
haven't watched it.
Year of Superman. Every 2 weeks, we're going to tackle a part of an aspect of this character, and this week we decided to do a couple of documentaries. One came out in 2010. We're going to talk about that one first. Second one came out in 2006. But the first one we're going to talk about is called Secret Origins, a story of DC Comics. This was narrated by Ryan Reynolds. It's all about DC Comics, the creation. We talked a lot about Superman a couple weeks ago and the creation of Superman, so I wanted to get into this one first. Talks about the creation of the comics, of DC Comics, narrated by a lot of comic creators and historians, including Neil Gaiman, who just got canceled. Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, another movie I need to watch. Maybe we'll watch it closer to when the new movie comes out, the James Gunn DCU movie. But I do want to see that because that story of Professor Marsden and how he was kind of a feminist. He had a wife and a girlfriend, and this was in the 1930s before any of that kind of stuff was big in the lexicon of sex and everything. World War II bonds, and the recycled paper and magazines and comics. The reason why there's not a lot of comic books now from that time period is because they were all donated to the war effort, and they were 30% of all paper material sent to the military during the World War II were comics. So the guys overseas were reading comic books back then, and that was Superman, Batman, everything that just started in the early 40s, late 30s. So, and talks a lot about the Golden Age, the Silver Age, Golden Age being reborn in the Silver Age, taking all of those Golden Age comics from the 30s and 40s and in the 60s, revamping them. You get a new version of the Justice Society of America changed into Justice League of America. Got a brand new version of the Flash. Instead of having the silver helmet, it's the Flash that we know from the TV show, the movies, the red suit. We got a brand new Green Lantern. So all that stuff happened in the Silver Age. Talks about the Bronze Age being experimental, layered in a lot of controversy, drugs, the 70s, drugs, race, sex, politics, social issues, all that stuff came about. Talks about the modern age, it's like 80s, 90s, reinventing genres, the horror element. This is where Neil Gaiman, Alan Moore, Watchmen, Sandman, leading to darker tones, culminating in the death of Superman, which became the ultimate dark story for DC. And also talked a little bit about Alex Ross and his realism, aspirational heroes of 9/11 and all that stuff. So it was a really good documentary. I suggest you watch that. It's free on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's the whole history
that's how
narrated
I
by
watched it
Ryan
actually on
Reynolds.
YouTube. Yeah, it was a very good documentary. The one thing I took away from it is I really want to read the comics with the Green Lantern and Green Arrow
Yes.
crossovers that they talked about, because Green Arrow is one of my favorite characters to read currently. When I wasn't reading Superman, I was reading a lot of Green Arrow this year.
Right.
I really enjoy that character and how they got him completely wrong on the show, even though the show is still entertaining. But yeah, I really want to read those comics. I have to dig into the see if I can find them at the store or see if they've done any revamps of them or whatnot, because those came out a long time ago. But
Right.
I would like to get my hands on some.
And we watched another documentary. This one I've been talking about ad nauseum for a while. Look Up in the Sky, Amazing Story of Superman. This came out in 2006, produced by Bryan Singer. It came out for the DVD box set, which I have actually a picture of. Box set came out in, it's a little fuzzy, but came out in 2006. Huge box set. It's one of my favorite DVDs I have. If I ever get rid of my DVD collection, this would be the only one I would keep, pretty much. It has every single movie up until Superman Returns. Tons and
Is that
tons.
metal
I think it
case?
has... It's metal. It comes with a metal case. It comes with a 3D cover
Nice.
of Christopher Reeve's Superman,
slip cover.
and it's
Nice.
it's like 32 discs or something like that. Tons of special
Jesus
features.
Christ.
It had everything. This is one of the only DVDs I think I've seen every
that-
single special feature of.
Did that have the Donner cut on it, or had they not
It
released
did.
it
That came out
yet?
right during this
was
time.
was that the release? Okay.
Yep.
Because the only reason why the Donner cut got made is because they were making this documentary. So I didn't
Yep.
know if the Donner
Yep.
cut came with that.
That's
That's
exactly
awesome.
what happened, and then this
Yeah.
and it was released on this box set. Yeah, that's
Yep.
where I saw it for the
Yeah,
first
the-
time. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna
the
talk about that
4K
in a
set
few
is really
months.
cool.
But yeah, they did re-release this on Blu-ray and 4K, this whole set. But I'm not sure if all the special features are on there or not. I know this documentary was pretty
Right.
big at the time because it's an amazing documentary. It talks about everything about the character, narrated by Kevin Spacey, another person who's been canceled in Hollywood, but he did a fantastic job.
Boy.
Played Lex Luthor in Superman Returns, which I thought he did a great job in that movie too, but since been canceled. Also narrated heavily by the John Williams theme from the original Superman movie. I noticed that watching it this time. Talks about, I'm not going to get into the whole thing because we're going to be breaking down a lot of this stuff through the months to come, but talks about the 1960s and a lot of weird TV shows coming out of Superman after Adventures of Superman with George Reeves. You got Super Pups. They showed some clips of that. That looks so fucking weird. It was like the early mid 60s where all the Superman characters were dogs. It was live action, looked strange. And Superman the Broadway musical actually turned into a TV show. They recorded the Broadway musical and aired it on ABC or one of those stations back then, or late 60s. Talks about the Super Friends. We may get into, I'm not sure if we're going to get into that or not. Talks about the animated series in 1996. Talks a little bit about Jerry Seinfeld's fandom. I mean, I know he had the Superman, was it a magnet or a picture on the refrigerator in the apartment on Seinfeld? What was that big thing with Superman in that
Yes.
show?
Every episode of Seinfeld has Superman.
Right.
The big one is the magnet on the fridge. He also has a statue on his bookcase. And if
Yeah, that's
the
what
episode
it was.
takes place outside, if the episode takes place outside of it, we should actually, for fun, watch a Superman episode of Seinfeld because that's a really fun episode.
We
You
will.
as a Superman fan, I think you would enjoy it. But if there was like outside, then they just reference Superman, or would have it like on the background, like maybe like on a storefront or something like that. But yeah, every episode of Seinfeld does have Superman, and they held a contest when the DVD set came out, and the winner like got whatever, like lunch with Jerry or something like that. First person to spot all the Superman references
Oh, that's cool.
on the DVD set or whatever. So, but yeah,
Nice. So yeah, great documentary. This is also free on YouTube. Up and away. Whole history of Superman is great. From, like I said, from the 30s to 2006, and tackles everything. So it's really, really good. Next up, we're going to talk about 1940s, 1950s, the serials, the live-action serials. The first time you see Superman in live action, played by Kirk Alyn. There's a few of them. I may watch one or two, but we're also going to watch, I'm going to try to watch the debut of George Reeves. This next time. George Reeves had a movie called
Yes.
Superman versus the Mole Men. That was his movie. It's supposed to be a pilot to The Adventures of Superman, which we're going to tackle probably a month from now, as well as the Hollywoodland movie starring Ben Affleck. I think we're going to wrap that all up into one episode, watch a couple episodes, talk about the George Reeves, the whole mystery of him dying, the lost season that was supposed to happen, and then he died.
I don't think he killed
could've-
himself. I think it's
Right, I think it could have been a
killed.
mob murder. We're not really sure. The
Yep.
movie tackles that a little bit, but we're gonna get into Hollywoodland starring Ben Affleck, and we're gonna talk about George Reeves and that whole series. It lasted 6 seasons. It was huge. Live action went from black and white to color, so there are some color episodes of that. We'll watch maybe an episode a season, or maybe 3 or 4 episodes before we watch.
Yeah.
I've watched this. I watched it growing up so much, but I haven't seen it in a while, so we'll watch some of that, and we'll talk about that in probably a month from now. But next time, in a couple weeks, we'll talk about the serials and the George Reeves pilot movie, Superman versus the Mole Men, and next 2 weeks from today, probably when we talk about that, we're also going to be reviewing All-Star Superman. We're going to get into that. You just got the trade paperback. I've had it for a while, so we're going to break that and break in. We're going to break into that.
Well, it is the trade paperback, but it's the actual like book size.
The smaller
and
version.
I honestly kind of like it. It's kind of nice.
It's easier to handle.
You can it's super easy to handle. I wouldn't like this for all seasons because those pages expand through multiple pages. The artwork does. But I think for All-Star, I think it's going to work out well. Plus, it was a third of the price. So, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
I actually got it for free because I had credit at the store.
Nice. Did not see Captain America, Brave New World. The review embargo kind of got me out of focus for that movie this week. Plus, we're Northeast. We live in the Northeast. Snow has fucked me up this week, and we're getting a big storm this weekend, and I did not want to go anywhere.
I can't even... Dude, delivering flowers today after the rain, because nobody cleans their driveway off of ice. Like, people clean their driveway off of snow. I almost fell about 25 times. It was awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Nobody knows how to use salt. It saves you from falling, and nobody knows how to use it.
Throw some shit down. Yeah. Salt or the de-icer shit that you buy for like $4. Yeah, it's awful.
I did not go. The reviews are about mid, about 50% on everything. I do know most of the plot points of it. We're not going to get into it now, but I do know the after credit scene, a few other things. But
and they did review that also on Real Blend, and they said that well, not great. It's way better than the reviews. I'm looking forward to seeing
I've heard
it.
too.
I'll probably see it next week sometime, and mainly because the Superman trailer is attached to it. So I want to see it for that reason, at least. Just like you wanted to see. I mean, neither of us were going to see the Marvels, and then I was like, well, I guess I'll go if you're going. You were like, I'm only going for the post-credit scene with the Beast. I was like, all right, that makes sense. But like for this, I'm going for like the Superman trailer and to hopefully enjoy myself for 2 hours. I just wish they didn't put the Red Hulk in the trailer.
Red Hulk.
Because that would have been
That's what I was going to say. That was the next thing I was going to say.
They should not have put in the trailer. Like, they ruined Thor Ragnarok's big surprise.
Right.
And they ruined Civil War. I did not like the fact they put Spider-Man in it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the Red Hulk thing, I think that would have been a great surprise seeing in the theater. And it sucks they had to put it
for
in the
people that
marketing,
didn't know. Like, they'd be like, oh, Harrison Ford's in this movie. Then they didn't know that the story of the Red Hulk would be awesome. We would have known already. It would have been cool
to actually show so much of that character in the trailers was not should have not happened. You could have shown him transforming maybe. You could have shown little glimpses of it, but you didn't have to show him actually fighting.
It's a big plot point in the movie too, of it like slowly building up to this moment, and then it happens. But we've already seen the big action scene in the trailer, so it's like
we've already seen the White House in shambles. That would have been great to see in a reveal of the movie. But we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks, maybe next week if I can get to it this week. We'll see. But that being said, let's get into the news. And it's not a news segment without the trailer roundup. A few trailers to talk about. This movie, it's called Friendship, and it is being highly regarded as being one of the funniest movies ever released.
Yes.
From the trailer, I don't get that. I mean, I don't get the funniest movie ever. I mean, there's a little seriousness to it, little funniness, starring Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd.
See, I think that's why I look forward to it more. I think I'm a much bigger Tim Robinson fan than you are.
Probably. Yeah, because I haven't seen much with him in it.
So, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a blast. Looks a little depressing in the beginning from what I saw, but
it does.
I don't know. I think it'll be I think it's going to be a very fun movie. I do.
Yeah, everybody's saying it's the funniest movie ever. So, I'll have to wait and see. It comes out in May.
What's it coming out on? Is it theaters?
Theater, it comes out in theaters in May, Yep. G20. This is a new thriller starring Viola Davis and Anthony Starr. We just talked about him. He's going to be a terrorist. And remind me got a lot of Die Hard vibes from this. Hans Gruber with Anthony Starr. Yes. But Viola Davis is going to play the president. Tony Starr is going to be taking over the government or something.
Looks
I don't know,
like looks like a classic '90s movie that I would have loved as a teenager. Like it looks like that, like Passenger 47, like White House, not White House Down, Air Force One, like something like that. Like so, I'm looking forward to this. It looks interesting.
Best part, free on Prime. Comes out April 10th.
Exactly. Not going to hurt me to see it.
Nope. Brand new trailer. Just heard about it this week for the first time. A documentary on the Celtics comes out on March 3rd. I believe there's like 6 episodes or something like that. Comes out on Max.
They're saying they're saying it's like that MJ documentary they compared it to, and they compared it to the Patriots documentary also.
Okay.
That came out on Apple last year, so this should be awesome. And Bill Simmons, of course, you know him from. You probably know his name, but he also produced the Andre the Giant documentary for HBO, which was fantastic. So I have faith in this.
Nice. So we will be talking about that in a few weeks. We got a new trailer for Twisted Metal Season 2. I never finished Season 1, but it comes out this summer. Got a great trailer for How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action remake, or whatever you want to call it, 10 years after it came out, but it does look really good. I guess
the director said, he goes, I didn't even change the script. He used the same exact shooting script as he did for the animation one. So we'll see.
He also brought back Gerard Butler to play the lead, the leader of the pack. He plays the live action version of that character too. So, it does look really good if you've ever seen the original. So it looks good. Got a trailer for The Accountant 2, starring Ben Affleck and John Bernthal playing his brother.
It's gonna be dope. Can't wait.
Yeah, the first one was pretty good. So. Get some glimpses of the trailer there from Vanity Fair earlier in the week.
That date was in the trailer because I'll be back to work.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
comes out like the weekend we open. That date annoys me. Damn it.
Weekend box office last week. Dog Man movie, 13 million. Heart Eyes, 8 million. Love Hurts, number 3. I actually wanted to see that movie last week with Hugh Kwan, 5.8 million. Low box office. I think the box office this week's going to be a little bit better with Captain America. But Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees came out this week. Huge list of we're every 25 years. So the 25th 25 years ago, some of these artists came around for the first time mid 90s. Not early mid 90s, 90, 95 on. I think maybe 30 years. I can't remember, but. Some of them are older. I got Bad Company, The Black Crowes, early 90s. Mariah Carey, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Billy Idol, Joy Division, Cyndi Lauper, Mana, I don't know who that is, Oasis, Fish, Soundgarden, The White Stripes, and the big hip-hop artist this year is Outkast, which I think is a first year definite getting in, I have a feeling, because they are... Outkast is great, but they are undefined as hip-hop as far as there's no other artists like them.
That's true.
Ever. Like, it's just, they did so much. Great. They did so much for hip-hop, and there's no way that they're not going to get
and for Southern hip-hop in general.
For the South, yeah, for sure. But yeah, we'll know more about that in the spring, and then this will be in the fall when we actually get the award ceremony, so... Malcolm in the Middle. We talked about it. They're going to be a revival on Hulu. There's going to be 4 30-minute episodes, but all one big combined storyline. Continuing the story with Bryan Cranston and Frankie Muniz and all the characters from the show, his brothers, his mother, and all that. So,
did you watch the original? I can't remember. You did, right?
I watched some of it. I wasn't big on Malcolm. I wasn't like huge.
I never saw a single episode.
I did watch some. Yeah, I think it was one of those shows that was on after something else I was watching. And I'd catch it, and maybe on reruns. I don't remember, but
and we were like, we were in high school when it started, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's probably on Sunday nights. I don't know.
I don't remember. It could have been. Owen Wilson is going to star with Alan Ritchson from Reacher in a new movie called Runner. Other than that, I don't know much more about it, but I wanted to bring that up because I do like Alan Ritchson. this is a crazy story. Pharrell Williams, he just had a Lego biopic that came out last year. Didn't hear much about it, but for some reason he has a musical that he's doing. Was already in production, already in post-production, already filmed it, and the studio canceled it right in the middle of post-production. And saw it and said, wow, this movie sucks, and canceled it right in the middle of it. And they said, there's no path going forward. This is the only way we can do this, just cancel it. They already through post-production, already done the filming, already been through all of that mess, and then cancel it last minute. Must be really bad. So, it's kind of crazy that happened.
Yeah.
But, Christopher Nolan's Odyssey got 2 new cast members. For some reason, I didn't have it with the other cast members this week, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. The guy on the right looks familiar. The guy on the left, I don't know. Jesse Garcia and Will Young Lee. I don't know what he's been in. The guy on the right looks familiar.
I don't know either one of those guys.
We'll talk about the other part of that casting in a little bit. Got a new glimpse of the next Avatar movie. This is a fire and ice, or fire, whatever it is, where they're going to go into another fire clan. And this is the remnants of the Fire Clan, and all in ashes. So, and ashes is going at being in ash, and growing from ash from the flames is all going to be a pivotal point of the story of this, is what James Cameron's saying. So, you'll have to wait and see on that. Denis Villeneuve, he had this photo shoot with the original Paul Atreides. What's his name? Kyle MacLachlan and Timothée Chalamet. Had a little photo shoot with both of them. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we're going to see about Dune 3. I don't know when we're going to get news on that, but yeah. Until Dawn, got a new poster for that based off the video game. I don't know if we're excited for this or not. It comes out in the theaters in April. From the director of Lights Out and Annabelle Creation. I don't know.
See.
Yeah, we'll see. If we hear anything, we see a trailer for it, maybe it'll pique our interest. But right now, it's kind of on our side radar.
Trailer already came out, I think. This is based on the video game, right? The trailer's been out for a few weeks.
Yeah. Euphoria started filming this week. Got a first glimpse of Zendaya on set. HBO announced the returning main cast and new cast coming into the series. The new cast of note: Marshawn Lynch, football player. I think that's the only person I recognize on this list. Also, returning cast, pretty much everyone, except for the ones we've talked about. Her friend, I can't remember her friend's name. I know she's not coming back. The one that had the glasses is doing the sex tape on, like, the live streams on the internet. She's not coming back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forget her name, too.
Barbie, something is her real name. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But, Nika King, who played her mother, not coming back. Dominic Fiki, who played Sydney Sweeney's boyfriend in the first season, not coming back. And Algie Smith, I hope this isn't mixed up. One of them is coming back. This is a false report from Deadline. The friend that Zendaya ends up finding in the second season, who's a drug addict as well. That was a pretty good story arc. He is coming back. They announced that he wasn't, but he is coming back. And of course, Zendaya is coming back. Speaking of Zendaya, I saw this rumor. I wanted to bring it up in case it comes true. She's in talks to voice Shrek and Fiona's daughter in Shrek 5. So we'll see if that comes out.
We know it's you, Grace. We know it's you. Yeah, we'll see. Zendaya gets cast and everything. And Grace, we know that's you. My time to shine. We're on to you, buddy.
Right. Master of the Universe adds Morena Baccarin, who is in Deadpool, as Vanessa, as the Sorceress, and Johan Zaklor Johannesson as Fisto.
I wouldn't even try it.
I tried it, and I failed.
Some guy from Sweden.
Some guy from Sweden.
Norway.
But he's going to be playing Fisto. So they're actually making this movie. I cannot believe it. What's his name playing Skeletor? Jared Leto. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. That's an interesting casting choice.
This show called The Studio, coming out on Apple TV, starring Seth Rogen, sounds interesting. About kind of a backstage look at producers creating content. And the first episode is going to talk about Seth Rogen being a studio executive, studio head, who has to make a movie about the Kool-Aid Man. I thought that was funny. This movie is going to star Bryan Cranston, Martin Scorsese. It's going to have a lot of cameos in it from actual movie stars, directors, actors, you name it. So, yeah, it's going to be on Apple TV. I can't remember when this comes out, sometime in the next couple of months, but keep an eye on that.
Nice.
Cheech and Chong's last movie. This is a documentary coming out in theaters on April 25th. Actually releasing on 4/20 at 4:20 p.m. if you want to partake. Yeah, this is going to be a documentary / movie with Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong coming back, reprising their characters, talking about the history of them, Up in Smoke, all that stuff. So,
do you like Cheech and Chong movies?
Cheech and Chong, one of those things that was before our time. I saw Up in Smoke, of course, everybody's seen that. Before our time. Maybe...
I don't think I've ever seen a single movie with them. I honestly don't think I've ever seen a single movie.
Up in Smoke is good. It's a classic. It's on the list of a lot of people's favorite comedies, so
yeah,
understandably so.
Yep.
But yeah, Big Bang Theory's John Ross Bowie, who played Kripke in that show, is going to be joining the Max spinoff of Big Bang Theory, reprising his Kripke role. So, he is a actor. You've probably seen him in a whole bunch of stuff. I think he's been in Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's been in a whole bunch of stuff, but his big role was Big Bang Theory. He changed his accent into this really thick lisp, and was kind of the arch nemesis of Sheldon Cooper. So yeah, he's coming back to that series. This TV show, I don't know if you've heard of it yet. Taylor Lautner, who was big in the Twilight movies, he played the werewolf in that. Right, he was a werewolf.
Good Twilight boy.
Right, and where has he been in the last 20 years, or 10, 15 years now, I guess, since that movie's been out? We don't know. But he has resurfaced. He has resurfaced in this Amazon series called Taylor Lautner Werewolf Hunter. You think of that, well, he's going to go look for a werewolf, supposed to be a live action. No. This is Taylor Lautner playing himself as a person looking for werewolves and attacking and killing and destroying werewolves in America currently. This is not a live action. This is a fake, made up story that's going to be on Amazon, full series. Kind of weird that the werewolf from Twilight's looking for werewolves to destroy, but weird. Maybe I'll watch it. We'll see. This is the casting of The Odyssey I want to talk about. I, for some reason, mixed it up. But officially announced, we talked about it last week, was rumored. Maya Goth joined it. And Corey Hawkins also joined the cast, was announced today.
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre, and he's been in a whole bunch of stuff. He was in The Heights, which I loved him in that. So this movie has... The Walking Dead. This movie has Tom Holland, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, John Bernthal, Charlize Theron, Lupita Nyong'o, John Leguizamo, Elliot Page, Robert Pattinson. This is the craziest Nolan cast I've ever fucking seen in my life.
I'm waiting for my call. Like, when's he gonna call me? He's casting everyone. Call me.
Get in. You gotta go into the casting process, Kevin. You can't expect the roles just to come to you. GQ magazine came out with a GQ magazine came out with a new article, new picture with Michael B. Jordan, and he talked about if he would work with Jonathan Majors again. He said he would. He loves him, and
probably should not have said this until his movie
came
out.
Probably not until the movie came out.
A lot of people still do not like Jonathan Majors, even though he was cleared of a few charges, but one of them still stuck. Yeah, I would have bit my tongue on this one. I would have been like, pass.
The other thing we haven't talked about is there is a trailer to the movie that Jonathan Majors is supposed to come out in May or April. What's that called?
Yeah, Magazine Dreams.
Magazine Dreams. Just the trailer just came out. They're getting into the promotion wheels for that now. So, did look decent. I saw the trailer for it. It looked okay.
It's supposed to be amazing. So, we'll see.
Maybe it'll resurrect his career. We'll see. This I'm excited for. Johnny motherfucking Cage, a fake poster for Mortal Kombat released this week, shared by Carl Urban. This is the best viral marketing I've seen in a while. Just a brief fake poster for a fake movie and a fake movie, Mortal Kombat 2. I'm so pumped that he's Johnny Cage. I'm pumped for this movie. It comes out sometime this year, the end of the year. And we're probably going to be getting a trailer in the next couple of months. So it's awesome that they release a trailer like this. From the studio that brought you Rebel Without a Cage. I cannot wait for this movie.
Me too.
Electric State. This comes out in March 14th. This is the movie from the Russo brothers starring Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown, set in this kind of futuristic world. We'll have to wait and see what it's going to be and everything, but I do want to see it. I like Chris Pratt. I like Millie Bobby Brown. So, yeah, it comes out on Netflix. D&D. Netflix is coming out with a new D&D series, live action. Sean Levy is going to be in charge of it. Other than that, we don't know much more about it, but I was very high on the D&D episode. It's like only 10 minutes, but on Amazon, they did a great job with that. If they do a live-action D&D series, I think it's going to be huge for them. A lot of people play D&D now, so...
and a lot of people wanted Netflix to pick up the sequel to the movie that came out, because everyone that watched that movie loved it, even though it failed. So
it did. It was really good. Very good movie. Ninja Turtles are coming to Call of Duty. I know you play that game every so often. They're going to be playable characters on that. Roy Orbison is going to be having a biopic from the Bohemian Rhapsody producer. It's going to be talking about his whole entire life story, long-form documentaries of some sorts. Announced
My
today.
boss loves him.
Oh, nice, yeah. Announced today, Goonies 2 is officially in the works, and Steven Spielberg is producing it. Not Robert Zemeckis. Chris Columbus, who wrote the first one, is writing the second one. He's going to be in charge of the script. Also brought in Potsy Ponsioroli. I don't know who that is. But yeah, 40 years ago this movie came out. Exactly, 1985. So, like we mentioned, I think we talked about it last week. All the adults are probably going to be playing parents, and they're going to bring in new kids to play new Goonies. So, we'll have to wait and see on that. Also announced officially this week, Rings of Power Season 3 is moving forward. And they're going to be jumping forward several years from the events of Season 2. Season 3 takes place at the height of the War of the Elves and Sauron, as the Dark Lord seeks to craft the one ring that will give him the edge he needs to win the war and conquer all of Middle-earth at last. Very excited for that. I'm glad they picked it up.
Sounds very entertaining.
It sounds very entertaining.
Sounds
also,
better than Season 2.
The craziest news this week. John Lithgow is going to be playing Dumbledore in the HBO series. Not officially confirmed, not officially signed on the dot yet, but this is in the Variety deadline. Everybody picked it up, so he is in talks. This is probably the best thing they could do, to get a serious actor like this who has comedic chops as well to play such an iconic role. He's going to be playing for the next 7 years, 8 years, however long they stretch this series out to be, but John Lithgow playing Dumbledore, holy fuck! If he plays, I think I mentioned to you in text, if he gets cast as Dumbledore and Cillian Murphy get cast as Voldemort, holy fuck! The scenes with these two are going to be tremendous.
I mean, this is great outside of the box casting that we should have probably been thinking about for somebody of his age range, but I absolutely love it.
You know why we don't think of it? Because he's not a British actor. That's why I didn't think. I'm thinking British
that's
actors.
A good point.
That's what the WB did with the movies, but they're going outside the box. So they wanted to do that with Hagrid. They wanted Robin Williams to play Hagrid, and they actually turned him down. Right, they turned him down because he wasn't British, and they got what's his name, Robbie Coltrane to play him. I think is his name.
Yep.
But
that's same reason why Adam West was never James Bond is because he wasn't British.
Right.
They wanted him to be James Bond so bad, but he wasn't British, so they were like, can't do it.
Nope. Got some new swag this week.
Swag! Stuff we all get.
Come on, son. You know that's right.
Well, if you can see this figure, you can get it. It's the John Cena invisible figure made out of clear crystal plastic.
How have they not done this before? How
I
is this
have
the
no
first
idea.
time?
It's
Like,
going to be a
that should have been
collector's
done in, like,
item.
2005.
Look at the box art there. It's just his shirt and his hat.
Oh.
You don't even see his face.
I know.
That's awesome. Yeah, this comes out sometime this year. I saw this. I wanted to bring it up to you. This looks pretty cool. I don't know how long this has been out. It's McFarlane figure from Batman Begins with the Nightmare Batman.
Yep.
Looked really
Yes.
cool.
That is dope.
But the big thing everybody's talking about is in DC this week is this figure of Crypto. It's a Crypto with a helicopter, with a flying helicopter. This is a leaked picture, but we did see a first glimpse of marketing for Superman. We did see the first glimpse of Corn Sweat on the promotions for the box and the toys. So, yeah, we'll talk more about Superman in the months to come. Got brand new posters for Daredevil Born Again. Comes out in just 2 weeks. Excited for that, March 4th. And finally in news, Marvel is going to be slowing down with Armor Wars. Saying it doesn't mean we'll never make it, but for now they are not going to. But it does mean we just have to be a little bit more considered so that every time out audience are guaranteed quality. Well, that's great to do that now, especially since Captain America is getting such shitty reviews right now.
Well, thing is, though, Captain America is the very last film
one,
in the
yeah.
Chapek regime.
Yeah.
It's the last one that Bob Chapek had any involvement in. I don't think he worked on Deadpool and Wolverine. I think this just kept getting pushed back. So I don't think he had any involvement in Deadpool and Wolverine because that was kind of Ryan Reynolds' own deal there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the last thing that Bob Chapek had his hands in. So, yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, you need to watch, this is the issue now you have with Marvel is to watch Captain America 4, you need to see 5 movies and a TV show beforehand.
Yeah.
Which can be an issue. Give or take 5 movies and a TV show, because I would include Infinity War and Endgame as part of those also. You could skip those, but you'd lose the story. That's an issue with Marvel right now.
The big thing is to keep, which I think they're starting to do, is to keep the TV shows to a more grounded, something that they can just keep by itself. It's not going to have over universe stuff happening in it that you have to know going into the movies. Implications were the word I was thinking of.
Yeah.
You're going to get the origins, which I always said if the X-Men ever come, in order to get the origins of these characters, I think it should be a TV series, and each episode should tackle a character of the X-Men. And then you don't need to have their origin. You can have them join a team later on in a movie, which you don't need to see the TV show, but be a little bit of introduction to the characters if you want it. The other thing, a little bit of Thunderbolts talk before we end the show. Captain America: Brave New World. I want to get into a spoiler for it. Fuck it, we're gonna get into a spoiler. Just
okay, we're gonna do it.
Listen.
All right, let's do it.
Yes.
Spoiler warning.
The end of the movie, The Raft, which is the prison in the ocean. You already have you got Zemo there, who was in Civil War. He's the bad guy. You've got Thunderbolts Ross at the end of Captain America: Brave New World gets sent there, and the leader gets sent there. I have a feeling that Thunderbolts, the movie, is going to have a lot more into it than we think. I think that it's not only is it named after Thunderbolt Ross, but I think Red Hulk is going to be in there, and I think that Zemo may be in it as well, because Zemo is part of the Thunderbolts too. I think they're leaving a lot off the marketing for this movie, and especially considering this movie comes out on May 4th or May 5th, whatever. It's a big, huge tentpole movie for Marvel, where they had so much faith in it that it's going to be a big, huge summer blockbuster movie. I think there's a lot more to the marketing that's being left off of Thunderbolts. Was Thunderbolts part of the Chapek regime, or was that separate? As far as what you were talking about earlier, as far as okay, so maybe I'm right.
I think I heard James Gunn originally wanted to do Thunderbolts, and then he left for DC. Like he was going to do Thunderbolts after Guardians, which makes sense. I think that may be why it was even greenlit to begin with. Because he wanted to do it.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of that this week. Thunderbolts is named after Thunderbolt Ross. And if he is in the raft and he survived, and he is in the comic books, the big part of Thunderbolts is the Red Hulk, so I could see that happening. But we'll see. A couple months down the road from now, we got that movie. So that's it for the show. That's it for news this week. Next week, we got the finale, the last two episodes of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. If we get to it, we'll get into Dark Side of the Cage, Invincible. Cobra Kai came out this week. We'll talk about it whenever you get to them.
Definitely gonna be talking about that.
Homework for the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about it.
One thing you should probably think about watching soon is Reacher, because the new season starts in like a week and a half, or maybe even next week. So I would recommend you watching, if you have time this week, to watch the first season, or at least try to get into it.
I will have plenty of time this weekend. I have off Sundays because of this fucking storm, thank God. First time I've had 2 days off in a row in forever, and it has to be during a snowstorm, but that's fine. If you don't see me, it's because I'm home all weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, Reacher is one of those shows. Reacher is definitely one of those shows I want to get into. Still trying to get into the slot of the Marvel shows.
Finish it quick. Yep.
How far in the Marvel shows on Netflix did you get into before you gave up? Did you watch anything? Like, I can get into Daredevil season 3 right now and be okay getting. There wouldn't be no story before it I need to know from Luke Cage or Jessica Jones or anything. There's nothing that connects to that, is there?
Oh, I watched all of them except for Jessica Jones 3. I watched all of the first seasons. I didn't watch Luke Cage 2. I didn't watch Iron Fist 2, and I was not confused because both Iron Fist 2 and I think Luke Cage 2 and Jessica Jones 3 all came out after season 3 of Daredevil.
Okay. As long I
can't guarantee that, but I think.
I know we got a couple weeks until Daredevil Born Again, and I do want to watch season 3 because I know it's going to probably continue that story.
Yep.
So I may get into that this week and next week.
You should watch a recap of Defenders. You should watch a recap of Defenders, and don't bother with the show. Just watch a recap on YouTube, because you need to know stuff from that show that goes into Daredevil.
I've seen Defenders. I have seen that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Daredevil picks up right after Defenders ends.
Right, Punisher was the last thing I saw, and then Jessica Jones the last thing I saw. Luke Cage season 2, Iron Fist season 2, and then Daredevil Born Again, I believe, is where I'm at. So, homework for a couple weeks from now, All-Star Superman. We're going to read that comic book on the 28th. We'll talk about it. Also going to talk about all the serials from Superman we brought up earlier. Coming out next week, The Monkey, the horror movie written by Stephen King. Getting rave reviews. Comes out next week. But the big topic next week comes out on Sunday is the SNL 50th anniversary special. Doesn't come out on Saturday, comes out on Sunday. So, it's going to have a whole bunch of stars, a whole bunch of musical guests. There's actually a live concert going on now. I'm going to be watching after we get off pod. And it's on Peacock. I believe this SNL 50th is also going to be streaming on Peacock that night. So, thanks everybody, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace.
Deuces.
We're the Geek Blurb crew, here to enlighten you, talking all things geeky, from movies to wrestling to our podcast is the place where you wanna be for all the latest news and nostalgia from the 80s and 90s. We review comic book flicks and sci-fi hits, riding the wave of action movies with all the cool bits. From Iron Man to Star Wars, we cover it all. And when it comes to wrestling, we never drop the ball. Geek Blurb, we're the kings of the nerds, rating movies and pineapples, our opinions never blurred. Join us each week for a geeky chat with the latest news and a dose of nostalgia that. So if you're a fan of the comic book craze, or a lover of sci-fi and all its maze, tune in to Geek Blurb, we're here to entertain, bringing you the best in geekdom, it's our domain.